know how to tell a relatable story. And my friends, do you know that if you can relate your personal experiences, it can help enhance your bottom line. It helps you to appear more authentic, genuine, and helps the consumer know if you're in business that you can be trusted. Conversely, it helps you as the entrepreneur know that you'll be invested in the outcome of the results because you have a vested interest in seeing that you have a genuine chance to add value and serve a community. According to my friends over at LinkedIn, they report 52% of consumers say that they always expect offers from businesses and entrepreneurs to be personalized. Meanwhile, 66% of consumers say that they expect brands to understand their needs and expectations. And finally, on the American side of the border, 70% of U.S. consumers say they're more likely to buy from personal and relevant brands to them. This is good news for my friend Luke Redhead. He's the founder of Century Collective. It's a personal branding company which assists entrepreneurs and other business owners to create personal brands which sell. Luke leans into your story in order to make you money. It's as simple as that. Using your personal life experiences to help your bottom line become more enhanced. His sweet spot is helping founders and solopreneurs grow their personal brand and get leads on LinkedIn. He says that his personal brand helped to change his life, both from a personal and business perspective, and now he's on a mission to help you do the same. Redhead joined me this week all the way from the UK to provide an international and global perspective on the secret sauce and what it'll take to build a personal brand that sells, tells a story, and provides you fulfillment all at the same time. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Absolutely. So, Luke, if you're ready, my friend, I'll take a moment to wish you an international hello, my friend, because I'm coming to you today from Canada. So I want to wish you a good international hello, my friend. I'm excited to see you today to talk all about personal branding. Great to see you, and thanks for being here, my friend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my friend, and I know that your day job means that you help people know that their personal brand needs to sell, my friend. So I'm wondering if we can talk about your passion and purpose for branding and why it's so important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the background for me is, I mean, I've always loved writing, and that's kind of been a very big part of what I do, for many years now. So I've kind of moved, with the times and evolved as you do, into the world of branding because I really enjoy the personal branding side. I think it's fantastic, the direction that the world's going in, that business is going in, that you can be a lot more personal. You can turn up authentically. It's a lot less, turn up as your best self all the time. We're only humans, and humans make mistakes, and these things happen, and it's what we do with them that counts. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic direction that the world of business is going in, and it's something that fascinates me. So combining that with my my passion for writing and for content and things like that, it's almost like everything's kind of aligned perfectly for everything that I enjoy and I'm very passionate about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, what do you think is the key to creating an authentic brand story? What are your thoughts there?
I'd say, authenticity, it's a bit of a buzzword at the minute. Everyone seems to talk about it. But I think the key thing to build a authentic brand is you've got to show up as you here, it's all about just showing up, showing your story, showing the things that you've done. All of that is good because it builds trust that you know your stuff, that you've been there, you've done it. It builds this brand that has a lot of reputation, a lot of trust behind it, and that's the key thing. If you're chasing likes, chasing templates, chasing algorithms and things, yes, they can do well. You can get good reach and things, but the impact often is less because it's not your authentic story. It's not you naturally. It's all of those bits that are kind of missing. So yeah, for me it's just authentically just showing up, and saying, standing up for the things that you believe in, stand up for the for the things that you're passionate about, and if anybody disagrees with them, fine, doesn't matter. You're not there to please everyone. You're there to show up as who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Lou, I want to ask you about how your own personal brand has impacted your life and why it's important for you to help other people maximize their revenue through their personal brand. So tell me more, my friend.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, my kind of tagline at the minute is my personal brand changed my life, and it ultimately it really did. There was a point along my journey where I was working in a corporate role, and I was building my personal brand at the same time. Mostly because I enjoyed building my own personal brand. That was kind of the focus there. But yeah, I remember one morning, I logged on. I was working remotely, but I logged on and got invited to a meeting and joined it. And the company had closed that day. They'd shut down basically because they couldn't afford to keep going. And I was made redundant, effective immediately, and didn't make it to lunchtime. So I had a week before bills were going to come out, and a lot of I wasn't going to get paid that month, so I had to do all these different things to try and get that money back and everything. And I remember seeing all the people that all my colleagues and friends as well, um, you know, on this call asking how they expected to pay bills and pay their rent and things, and yeah, it was a really tough day, really, really tough day, and a very tough couple of weeks after. And I was very lucky for myself because I'd been building this personal brand before. So I had a bit of reputation and trust in what I did, what I talked about. So I could quite quickly, you know, piece my offer together, you know, start helping people, get a couple of clients on board. And that helped me to get, to stay afloat, and keep going. And ultimately it's kind of where it's led me to now as well, which is a funny direction that I didn't really plan on, but yeah, it's a good thing. But
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, all I was going to say was, it was the fact that that personal brand was there that allowed me to one to just kind of chase this passion project more than anything, um, and two to have that kind of peace of mind that when that happened, I was actually I was okay. It wasn't. Yes, it's a very bad thing and a very very tough time to go through, but it wasn't the bad thing as bad as it could have been. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if anybody asks, a personal brand is one of the best things that I've ever invested my time and effort into.
Yeah, absolutely, because you can control your own a narrative that way, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And this is it. We're entering a world and age where it's a lot less about you get a 9 to 5 and you work for 40 years and then you retire. Yeah, there's a lot of people that they want to start living now. It's not to say there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5. I think if that's the direction people want to go in, that's great. I've been very happy with roles like that in the past as well. But there are a lot of people that narrative doesn't fit for them, and the fact that they can build a personal brand online, they can just show up as themselves, they can be who they are, show the right kind of people what they can help with, um, and they can kind of chase that destiny, and fulfill that a lot easier than they would have been able to do 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Luke, tell me, how do you think your personal brand can help you live sort of a predictable life? And how important do you think predictability is in business?
uh, yeah, I mean predictability from my perspective it's good and it's bad. From a good perspective, I like to be predictable in that, whenever I'm working with clients, it's predictable what's going to be, the sort of value of that call. It's kind of a key bit for me. I want them to know that if they join, if they join that call or they join or whatever it is, they're going to get value. So that's the thing. I want to be a very predictable person in a value sense. But I'm at heart, I'm also quite a sporadic person, and I like to do things quite quickly. I like to do things that are unusual. So quite often, I like to surprise people with things as well. And give them, in a good way, give them things that they're maybe not expecting. Whether that's like an extra resource, whether it's going above and beyond, whether it's whatever. I like that level of unpredictability because you're always adding more on top of what they kind of expected beforehand. So yeah, I think yeah. Does that kind of answer that point for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back
Cool.
quickly to selling your personal brand because,
Mm,
I believe in business that you're your best commodity to tell your own story. So
mm.
tell me the importance of telling sort of what I call a personalized story because if you're connected to a story, it sells through faster and more efficiently, doesn't it?
Oh god, yeah, definitely, definitely. I've got a great example of this. The other day, and there's a client I'm working with at the moment, and it's relatively early days still, and they shared their first personal story, and they shared how they left, their role, and they had a very very good career, a very very senior role, and they walked away from it and left that because they wanted to. It was 1 year before their daughter went to uni. Um, and they just wanted to have 1 year where they did cool things together, and go out for days and and just basically spend time, before she went to uni. And yeah, it's such a powerful story, and yeah, when we got it out there, it outperformed kind of the rest of their posts, over the couple of weeks prior by nearly 10 times because it was a really strong but also relatable story as well. It showed who they were, it sold them as a person, it showed their story over just sharing more information. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's sharing those insights and all that stuff. It's the key. It's the crux to a good personal brand, definitely. When it's done right.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Luke, let's talk about one of the more popular business networking sites. And of course, I'm talking about LinkedIn, my friend. The platform says that 16.2% of its users use it on a daily basis, and 48.5% of their users use LinkedIn on a monthly basis, but they often struggle to turn their leads into actual business clients. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on those findings and why you think people need to really optimize their LinkedIn profile, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the world of business is hard. You know, it's not easy. There's a very common statistic, isn't there, that something like 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. It's tough. Business is hard, so naturally people struggle. And I think there's a misconception where you see a lot of people that they share results. You know, being a social platform that LinkedIn is, a lot of people do share results and things that wins that they've had, and you know less so now, but in years gone by, they just shared those. So it was, I've built a six-figure business, I've done this, I've done that, so that became really common. So people felt like if they weren't achieving that, they weren't doing very well. Um, but they're only the tip of the iceberg, really. It's the majority of people, are in that coming up stage. Not everyone has a six-figure business. A lot of people have, a smaller business than that, and that's absolutely fine. Um, because obviously business is hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it and everyone would be rich. So yeah, business is hard at the, as it is anyway. And I think part of the reason that people struggle to sell isn't necessarily that they have a bad thing to sell at all. And there's a lot of very, very good people on the platform, but there's so many people on the platform that you can be one of a million people. And a lot of people struggle with that standout perspective of how they can stand out and have that USP, which is where the personal brand comes in, because that's the beauty of it. Your personal story, nobody's going to copy that because it's yours. Nobody can copy that because no one has your experiences. But yeah, a lot of people struggle to stand out. And with the way that the platform works, you see it, you see people that chase going viral, or they chase these kind of trends. So they see somebody who's done a post that's done very well, and then they kind of do a very similar style, and then they just become a voice amongst everyone with a very similar style, and they don't really stand out that way. So yeah, it's people start, they start they stop selling their own story and authenticity as much, and they start trying to get those results, get those metrics, get those things in place, which then in the long run costs them and makes things harder for them. So yeah, I mean, I think the ultimate thing is it is tough. It's a very tough cookie to crack, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the matter anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, let's talk about target audience and really honing in on the target audience that you want to sell to and the importance of tailoring your story and personal brand to your target audience. So what do you think is the key to reaching your desired target audience?
Yeah, I mean, I made this mistake actually once, early on. I had this thing, this kind of mental mindset where if I tried to sell to a niche, I would cut out opportunities with other people, and limit my options. So I kind of tried to sell to everyone, which now I know is the equivalent of selling to no one, because it's just not possible to do. So the key thing is finding out who that target audience is crucial. If you can find out who they are, you know who you're talking to, and then your message becomes a lot clearer because you're talking directly to them rather than just talking generally. And if you know who they are, you can know how that aligns with you as well. So for me, I'm very big on personal branding, and a very big part of what I do is helping people to get clients through it, because I spent 2 years struggling to get clients because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I know those 2 years they were hard as hell. you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's if you imagine being in business, opening up the doors and being like, yeah, I'm ready, and then nothing really happens for 2 years. It drains you. It's hard. So I know how hard that is. So I know how they must feel. So I can align a lot better with them on a sort of emotional level. And that's just because I've been through it and I know who they are as well. So in my head, I've straight away, kind of omitted a lot of people just by speaking about that experience naturally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you think solving problems in business, Luke, is connected to business clarity? Because as you said, a lot of business owners are trying to overextend themselves to solve every problem in business. But how important is it to really know your niche market and who you're
Mm.
selling to? What are your thoughts there?
I absolutely, it's you look at the biggest companies in the world. I mean, Apple are, they're one of the most valuable companies in the world. It's several trillion now, aren't they? And yet, 60% of people still buy Android phones. You know, there's Microsoft still make, I don't know the percentage of laptops that they make, but yeah, they still sell majority of them. There's still a lot of other massive computer companies out there. So Apple never took over, but they've done very well from it. So yeah, when you know the problems that you're solving, then you can start to target the areas that you can have the most effect on. So same example, Apple, their iPhones, they're nowhere near as customizable in terms of software as an Android is. And that's because people, they don't want all of these features. They want a phone that does the job and has all the features clear and simple. So for a lot of people, that's it. Perfect. That's the phone I need. Now, all you people who want all these technical features and all these, mega amounts of customization, more than what Apple offers, there's a phone out there for them. But, Apple doesn't do that. They do it for the people who want that. Um, Now, bringing it back to kind of, my experience of it, I tried to sell content, you know, done for you packages in my early days without having any clarity on the problems I solved because I just thought businesses need this thing. There was never really an outcome, a derivative of why they needed it. I just saw the world as, yeah, look, I love writing. I'm passionate about it. I'm good at it. I know I can do it well. I'll just sell that. And then, when you try and get out to people and convey that message, there's no incentive, there's no investment for them, mentally and emotionally to want to invest in that. So when you get clear on that problem and you know what that problem is, you know what it is ultimately, what outcome you're selling. So, you know, for me, there's people out there who want to make an impact. They want to, build their name. They want to be able to get more clients, more sales from it. They maybe want to attract better talent and things. Great. Those are the things that I'm going to help them do. I'm going to help them do it through helping them build their personal brand. But ultimately, those are the outcomes that they are investing in. So when you know those problems and you know what they want solving for them, what you actually do is just the method of how you get there to make that happen for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke, one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you today, my friend, is outside of hosting this podcast, my friend, I do some professional speaking for organizations and uh, to amplify the hiring of folks with disabilities. So when we talk about lead generation, because I think in any business, no matter what field it's in, my friend, generating leads is sort of the heartbeat to any business. And if you don't know how to do it, then your business won't have any sustainability over the long period of time. So tell me, Lou, what do you think is the key to getting over the lead generation hurdle so that you can have clients and prospective clients continue to funnel through your business, my friend?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I say, I struggled for about 2 years because, I'll be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just had this dream and vision and didn't know how to do it. So, it was mainly my fault. But the best lesson I learned in the lead generation, and the lead conversion side was that when you look at it as leads and you look at how you can get leads in and how you can get more customers or clients in, you kind of start to lose the vision of why you're doing that. If you just look at ways you can help people, simple as that, just look at how you can help. More people you can help, brilliant, the more of an impact you have. Now that help can be free in terms of your personal brand. You put content out there all the time. That's free. That's free value. That's helping people. Great. You can do like digital products. You can do memberships. They're lower cost things. They're paid, but they're still helping people. Then you've got your higher ticket stuff, which is your one-on-one coaching, your coaching programs, your done for you, your services, all of that. All it ever does is help people. And that's the key. When you look at it as just how can you help people, and then you dig deep into what you're helping them with, what you're helping them solve, it just becomes a lot easier because you're not chasing money. You're not worried about getting leads. You're just looking, how can you get out there and make an impact? How can you help people? So if you do it that way, that for me anyway, I found that was just a massive help, a massive mindset shift that just made it so much easier for me and gave me so much more confidence to get out there and just help as many as I could.
Yeah, and you bring up something that's interesting. So I want to follow up just with this question in terms of mindset shifting in business and really believing in your purpose. How important do you think that is to your ultimate success, my friend?
Oh, it's huge, huge. You know, there's a fantastic thing I read once, and it was, any injury you have, the pain only exists in your own brain. It's your brain telling you that it hurts. So if you trip over and let's just say, heaven forbid, but if you trip over and break your leg, it's very painful. I know I've broken both my feet. It hurts a lot. um, but it's only in your brain. Nobody else feels that pain. It's only in your mind. And it's the same with everything. So if you can understand, and I'm not saying that you can control this at all, because I think you should feel these things, and it's a powerful motivator. But if you can understand that it's only in your brain and it's not always reality, so you might have a bad day, you might wake up wrong side of the bed, something might go wrong. You might have a sales meeting that flops, for example, and you're really excited about it and they don't sign on, and you walk away and you're upset about it. Again, that's only in your mind. The reality is you're no further back than you were. So yeah, it sucks. It's not nice, but you keep going and you get the next meeting in and you do the next call. And if you keep that in mind, yeah, it's not nice. Feel the pain. Let that motivate you. Feel the good times. Let them motivate you as well. Keep them close, those feelings. But accept that it's just a feeling and it's not always the reality. Then, you become unstoppable at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lucas, I shared with you at the outset of our conversation, I'm a big believer in diversity, equity, and inclusion, my friend. And one reason I am my friend is because I was born with cerebral palsy, and I found out at the age of 9 that I wouldn't be able to walk for the duration of my life without assistance because of the severity of my condition. So I've always attempted to do whatever I can to
Hmm.
promote the idea of inclusion and diversity, whether it be in branding or whether it be in messaging. So tell me, my friend, what do you think is the key to really creating an inclusive brand message? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I just want to say I think that's fantastic what you're doing. And good for you. I like that a lot. I think, inclusivity is it's as simple as, we're all doing stuff basically. For me it's, that the kind of the personal branding stuff I'm pushing out there. Um, it doesn't matter who reads it. It's if it's somebody out there with this dream, with this vision, and it aligns with them, then great. There's no way that people kind of need to. there's no demographic they need to fall in or anything like that for me. It's all about that that problem that I solve for them. So it's pretty much as simple as that, really. I know there's people as well that do focus on certain demographics. There's somebody I know, somewhat well, who, he's a founder, and he's black, and he focuses on helping other black founders as well. Um, you know, because he understands that demographic, and I think great, because that's a something that he can help with as well there. So yeah, I think for me, it's just as simple as, do they have the problem I can help with? As simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke, tell me, what do you think is the key to creating engaging content and really using content to crack the code of business? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, engaging content is just content that people read, relate to, and want to engage with. It's why personal stories work so well. It's why people enjoy that side of it so well, because they either see themselves there in an aspiration sense, such as success story. I've made six figures. Great, I want to be there. Or they see it from a relatable sense. So if you share a mistake or something or a lesson learned, they can learn from that as well. So, I think from that sense, engaging content, it's not always about what the algorithm likes at all. It's about what people like, and what you can share. Um, yeah, in terms of, to crack the code of, of the content side, I would, as simple as the content that aligns with you best, because there's that many people now. The right content that you can share, that aligns with you and what you're passionate about, and your kind of style and natural way of speaking, and and your way of thinking, you'll naturally attract people who are a good match for that as well. And then you get engagement from the right kind of people. So yeah, that's for me. That's how I've always approached it. And yeah, I've seen algorithms change. I've seen systems go up and down. I've seen all this stuff. I've seen all sorts of things happen. But that one way of approaching it has lasted, God, 3 4 years, and it's going to last many more just because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Luke, as a business coach, as you are helping clients create content and branding that sells, I'm curious to get your thoughts on the whole concept of motivation and keeping people motivated to create content. And, I think that if they see tangible results, it's easy to keep them motivated, right? But how do you keep people motivated in business when things aren't going well? So, what do you think is the key to consistent motivation in business?
I use two things actually here. One of them's called the builder's mindset, and the other is called the scientist's reaction. And I've named them as that just because it's very easy to reference those, anytime I need to. So the builder's mindset is that, if you're building a house, you have to put one brick down at a time, and you put more and more and more bricks down. And the majority of that house requires you to put bricks down. Then you can put the roof on, then the windows, then the door, then you've got a house. But the majority of things we're doing is we're just laying bricks down. So everything we do is laying, a brick for our reputation, for our brand, for our lead gen. Everything is just adding to that house building. So, even when we're doing the things that feel that are a bit of a grind or boring, because not everything's, exciting in business, unfortunately. But when we're doing that stuff, that helps you to keep going and keep that momentum going, and know that it's leading to that bigger picture. And then the scientist's reaction is very, very simple. But anytime a scientist does something, and you write down a hypothesis, an idea of what you think is going to happen, you write down how you're going to test it, you test it, you look at the results, you look at what you can do next. Now, every time a scientist does an experiment, they have an idea of what's going to happen. They quite often hope that something's going to happen. They quite often hope they're going to see a certain result. But if they see that result or not, it's still interesting to them because it still builds their knowledge. It still propels them further forward in what they're doing. So both ways are good. So, if I, let's just say, if I launch a digital product, for example, and I'm hoping it gets 100 people to download it and it gets five, most people go, oh, that's flopped. That's not done very well. But from a scientist's perspective, it's interesting because it's not done what we thought it would. Okay, let's see why. Why hasn't it? Next time we do it, we've learned why that one didn't do as well, and we've learned from it. So dead simple. Just keeping those two mindsets in, at the top of your mind whilst I'm doing stuff, and the same for for anyone. It just helps you to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke, before I ask you about Century Collective, I see that guitar behind you, my friend. And I know that you dabble in music, but my friend, so tell me
Yes.
about some of your hobbies and your love of music, my friend. Tell me more.
Yeah, I do. I've got that one behind me. It's it's a Fender. I've also got an acoustic over there as well, and there's a ukulele there behind it as well. I love music. I just do. Don't ask me to play anything because I'm not very good. But I just music's always been something I've really enjoyed. I just enjoy that a lot. In the garage, I've got a motorbike sat there at the minute. I'm waiting for some less rainy days to come about so I can go out and enjoy myself on that as well. But yeah, I like to keep a couple of hobbies going as well, just because if not, you can become consumed in work and just doing work all the time, and then it's just sleep, eat, work, sleep, eat, work, repeat. So yeah, things like that. I mean, as I say, I'm not very good at playing the guitar. I can play a couple of songs and a couple of chords, and that's about it. But it's nice. It's a nice break. It lets my brain do something different. It's a nice way of resting and kind of relaxing. So yeah. I've got a couple of hobbies like that, which is good.
Yeah, it's important to find balance, isn't it?
Definitely. Oh god, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Luke, tell me about living in England, my friend. I'm fascinated. So I live in Canada, so obviously England and Canada have the international relationship. But what do you think people would be interested to know about living across the pond here in Canada, my friend? What do you think would pique people's interest?
I mean, it's nice here. I'm looking out the window. It's grey. It's been raining all day. It's cold. At the minute for some reason. It's meant to be getting warmer, but it doesn't seem to be. But it's nice. I very much like living here because I'm not a big city person at all. I like that where I live now. I'm in a little, in a village, relatively small. I'm surrounded by farmers' fields. About a 5 minute walk in nearly any direction. I can get out and enjoy nature, and yeah, and England's very good for all of that. Obviously, most people know London is our big, as our capital, and that's very big, very very concrete, and very very busy as a city. But the rest of the UK is relatively green and nature and and fields and things. So yeah, I really like it. Despite the fact it rains nearly 400 days a year, and it's cold most of the time. Uh, but it's a lovely little place to be. So yeah, I'm very happy. Yeah,
Well, I tell you, when you get out on that motorcycle, it'll only teach you to appreciate it more because it rains all the time in England, right?
absolutely. Yes, yeah. We went out a couple of weeks ago, and we got caught in the rain, and well, it just we came home pretty quickly. I'll leave it at that. It was very cold and very wet.
Well, it's authentic and it builds character, doesn't it?
It does, yes, yeah, it does.
Yeah, Luke, tell me about Century Collective, my friend, and the importance of helping people build brands that are distinctive to them, because I know that's your sweet spot in business. So tell me more, my friend.
Yeah, I mean the name. Not many people know the reason behind the name Century Collective, and the reason is um, many years, well, many years ago, but probably nearly 40 odd years ago or so, my dad, he went into the RAF and he worked, did loads and loads of different things. But when I was growing up, and even now, he worked with a specific type of plane, and it was the AWAC, which is also known as the Sentry. If you Google a picture of it and have a look, it's very famous because it has a big radar dish on the top of it. Um, and that plane, it was, he was working with those a lot. We had framed pictures that he'd been gifted in the house and things. Um, we live a couple of miles from the airbase, and you can see them taking off and things. So yeah. So for me, as daft as it sounds, this envision of this plane, it relates back to my father and to my childhood as well. Um, and yeah, when I started in the world of business and I wanted to build a business, I didn't just want to do a name like, Leads for You or, something like that. I wanted something really personal, even if it didn't make on the outside, it didn't make any sense. So yeah, it was a bit of a homage to my father, to kind of my childhood, to have the word century in there. And the logo, if you see the logo, it's like a very very simple version of that radar dish off of that plane for the same reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And my final question for you today has to do with your own personal and professional legacy. And how do you want that to be defined?
Yeah, I mean, I love helping people, and right now I love personal branding, um, so I just if there's anything I want people to remember me for, it's for being helpful and and helping people to find their voice, to share their stories, to make an impact. I'm not doing this business, for the money. I Yeah, I need to pay the bills. Obviously, that's unfortunately it's life. We have to pay bills, but it's not my main motivator at all. I'm doing this because I want to help people. I want to see people make their dreams a reality. I want to see people succeed with their businesses and things like that. And for me, this is my way of being able to help people to do that. So, in 100 years, 200 years time, if people look up on in the history books and see me and see what I did, I want it to be that I helped people to achieve those things, and did that thing and made that impact. That's for me. That's ultimately what I want to be remembered for.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke, finally, tell me if people want to get connected with you personally or Century Collective, my friend, what's the best way they can do that?
I would say best way is either via LinkedIn. If just search Luke Redhead, you'll find me on there, and just reach out on there is probably the best way, or via email as well. Hello@centurycollective.com. Those two are the best ways.
Fabulous, Luke. I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me today, my friend. Your work in personal branding is really giving people the identity that they need to succeed in business, my friend. So I want to thank you for the good work that you do to move the needle of progress forward. And I want to thank you for engaging in conversation and agreeing to answer my questions. It's most appreciated. I want to thank you for being here, my friend.
It's been a pleasure. No, thank you. I've enjoyed it. It's been good to chat, and yeah, it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. So thank you.